Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be going over the top 10 favorite films that I watched for the first time last year being 2025. And also stay tuned because at the end I'm going to give you a bonus mini-series. So a bonus mini-series at the end. Grab yourself a drink of choice and we'll just dive right into this. With number 10, we have The More the Merrier. I loved this movie. It was really fun. It was just a fun, frothy, romantic comedy, and it starred Jean Arthur and Joel McCrea and Charles Coburn. This was really fun. It was set in the 1940s, and it's about this young woman that is a career gal, and there's a housing shortage during World War II. And so she's trying to rent out half of her apartment to another woman. Well, this older man finds it in the paper and he decides he wants to rent it out from her. And he's very gregarious and he just insists that she rent it to him. And she finally gives in and does. And there's some chaos that ensues with that. They become friends, but not really at first. And he decides to rent half of his half to a young man that he thinks would be a good match for her. So he decides to play matchmaker. This is a really fun film. It's pretty witty. The set was really good. The directing was really good. It was directed by George Stevens, and I highly recommend it. Number 9 is Wild River. It was done in 1960, I believe, and it was directed by Elia Kazan and starred Montgomery Clift and Remick. This is a really important film. It's not very often talked about. It's kind of become forgotten over the years, which is pretty sad. It covers the cost of progress is basically the main theme of it. There's a man who is coming from the government working to clear the land for a dam that's being built to protect people and their livelihoods. But unfortunately, one of the people does not want to leave. So it kind of brings up that question of, is progress moral and a good thing, even if other people are being harmed by it? So it was really good. It was also a romance. Montgomery Clift's and Remick's chemistry was really good. She had a couple of really good speeches that she got to make in this film, and she really carried it well. And of course, they played off of each other very well. So I highly recommend this one. Give it a shot. Number 8 is North by Northwest, directed by Alfred Hitchcock and starring Eva Marie Saint and, of course, the great Cary Grant. This is a really fun film. It's a mystery, action, adventure, romance, and it keeps you going all through it. Of course, if you know Alfred Hitchcock, you know. It's about a man who is mistaken for a government agent, and of course that's Cary Grant, and he gets kidnapped and pulled into this government adventure behind the scenes that we don't hear a lot of, the government agencies and everything. So really good, and it really keeps you guessing till the very end. It keeps you on your toes, and the music is amazing, and the directing, the shots. Mount Rushmore was one of the places. There were some really great shots out in the plains. Really good movie. Definitely give it a go. Number 7 is The Manchurian Candidate, the original one, starring Angela Lansbury and Frank Sinatra and Janet Leigh. This is a really good film, and it goes over political machinery and what can often go on behind closed doors and the smoke and mirrors that politicians often utilize to get votes and to fool the masses. This is a really fantastic film. It has humanity, it has heart, it has a lot of sadness in it as well, but I definitely recommend it. And all of these, of course, I should let you know that I will be doing individual videos on each of these movies in time, but this is just a bullet point of all my favorites. So definitely give this a try. Number 6 is The Women, done in 1939, directed by George Cukor. It starred Norma Shearer, Joan Crawford, Rosalind Russell. Rosalind Russell is really becoming one of my favorite actresses very quickly. I've only seen her in 2 or 3 things, but wow, she would just steal the scene. She had stage presence and she delivered her lines beautifully. She was my favorite performer in this movie. She could rattle off lines. It was a whirlwind when she would rattle off her lines. You only caught about half of it sometimes, but she was so professional. I don't know how she did it and made those lines look so natural. And she's incredibly funny and incredibly intuitive with her performing. This was just a great film. The performances were great. The directing was good. It was just an estrogen-packed flick. And it was a chick flick without being, saccharine. It was just amazing. And it's all about the relationships, the ins and outs of women. how, you know, there's some cattiness, there's some backstabbing, there's deep, true friendship. There are different generations in this film of different women from all over the nation, really. And this is just a really good film. I actually watched this New Year's Eve and it skyrocketed. It made it to the list for my best films of 2025. So definitely give it a watch. I think you'll really enjoy it, especially if you're a woman. Number 5 is The Heiress. This is, wow, it is a very psychologically complex film. It was done in 1949. It starred Olivia de Havilland, Montgomery Clift. It was directed by William Wyler. This is a really powerful movie. It kept me guessing until the very end. It's about this woman who is an heiress, and she's kind of withdrawn from society. She's an introvert. She likes to do her embroidery, but she doesn't really understand the social, the way to fool the society, basically, and do the social gimmicks and the graces and all of this. So she's just very sheltered in a way. Her father is not the kindest to her. He compares her all the time with her late mother, and I believe he even somewhat blamed her for her mother's death. Anyway, she meets this younger man, not younger than her, but young man, played by Montgomery Clift. And she just falls head over heels in love with him. He treats her like a princess. They just fall in love. And it turns out that he is penniless. So her father starts suspecting that he is after this girl's inheritance because she stands to inherit a lot of money when he dies. So it's all about that. And the whole movie is basically about her discovering herself, discovering her truth, and discovering whether or not this is true, whether this suitor really loves her for her or whether he's after her money. And it is fantastically done. Olivia de Havilland is she was an amazing actress and she did very well in this. Montgomery Clift was amazing in this. He kept me guessing until the very end. There was a scene near the end where it started to click what the point of the film was, and then I still, though, a few times went back and forth because he just played this so beautifully. You're not sure if he's a phony or if he's genuine until the very end. It is amazing. So I definitely say give this a go. It is one to watch many times because, like I said, it's incredibly psychologically complex. You could study it and watch it multiple times and not pull everything out of it. It's just very, very, very deep and very multi-layered and nuanced. So definitely give that a shot. I think you'd like it. Number 4 is All About Eve, starring Bette Davis, Ann Baxter, Celeste Holm, and a bunch of other folks. This is another very psychologically complex film. Wow. It was very mind-blowing. The performances were amazing. It's about an older woman who, well, not older, but middle-aged, who is in the stage, and she's well known in the theater. And she meets this younger girl who's apparently been through a lot of trauma. She's broke, and this young girl just idolizes her. So this actress takes her in. She starts mentoring her, and this girl becomes her protege, but also just dotes on the actress and takes care of her. And this young girl wins everybody's heart. Everybody just thinks she's wonderful and so sweet and kind. And then it starts to look weird. Bette Davis starts to feel very threatened and she feels like something's not right, starts to think, man, something's just wrong with me. I feel so threatened and I shouldn't be. What's wrong with me? And then stuff starts to come out that, well, maybe this girl isn't as great as everyone thinks she is. And I'll just leave it at that because I'm trying not to give spoilers, but it is a very good film about the power of narcissism. It's a study of psychopathic behavior to a degree. It's really, really, really good and kind of creepy. And wow, the ending is amazing. The script, the dialogue, the story, the directing, the whole thing's fantastic. It really was a good film. And it's one of the best known classics, the most important classics of all time. And it's widely considered to be Bette Davis' best performance. So I definitely recommend this one. Number 3 is History is Made at Night, starring Jean Arthur and Charles Boyer, and directed by Frank Borzage, I believe is how he pronounced it, I hope. This was a really good love story. This had everything. It had noir, murder, it had romance, it had comedy, it had disaster thriller tones. It had mystery. It had so much. And it also had, sounds kind of bad, but it had abuse. It put a spotlight on abuse in a marriage relationship. Jean Arthur plays the wife of a very rich man who is incredibly possessive and creepy, very dark. She tries to get away from him, and he's just constantly pulling her back. She meets Charles Boyer, and an affair ensues, and then I'm not going to let it go any farther. I'm not going to tell you anymore. This is such a good film. It kept me going. The very end, oh man, the ending was, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know if it was going to end well or not. Well, according to me, it was just really beautifully done, a wonderful film, and it's too bad that it's not more talked about because it was fantastic, so give it a try. Number 2 is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This is a great film. Everybody's heard of it, but I don't know, it took me forever to actually watch it. This is, of course, a wonderful Frank Capra film, starring Jimmy Stewart, Jean Arthur again, and Claude Rains, Beulah Bondi. This was a movie I had to watch a second time very shortly after watching it the first time this year, and it made me cry. And I don't cry very often at movies, but it made me tear up. It's about a man that gets voted into Congress just to fill a seat because the man that had the seat has died, and there is a definite corrupt political machine going on in the background. So they just vote Jimmy Stewart's character in thinking he's dumb and he'll just go along with everything. And he starts to because he idolizes one of the senators in this group. Then he starts realizing that there's so much corruption and he has to stand alone and stand against it and decide to go down fighting and to not be intimidated by this group of men who have all this experience, who know, all about how to work the system, and he just has to go by guts and what he believes in and integrity, and he gets the help of Jean Arthur's character who helps him understand the rules of the Senate and everything like that. This is just fantastic, and it culminates in a wonderful, the last 30 to 40 minutes are just, oh, you just can't leave your seat. It's really suspenseful and inspiring, and it just makes your heart soar. I loved this film. It was wonderful. Number 1 is Only Angels Have Wings. This is a film that was directed by Howard Hawks. I believe it was done in 1938, and it starred Cary Grant. Jean Arthur again. I'm a big Jean Arthur fan this year. This was another one that I had to watch twice this year. It really just stuck with me, and it warmed my heart. There's danger, there's excitement, there's adventure, there's romance without it being saccharine. This had the typical Hawksian themes. It had the male camaraderie, facing a dangerous job, a masculine code of ethics, brotherhood, the strong, intelligent female character that comes in and doesn't threaten the male group, but just kind of blends in seamlessly with them and becomes one of them without losing her femininity. And of course, that's Jean Arthur. It's just a really good film, and with only 2 watches, I can tell it's going to be one of my go-to comfort films. It's very cozy and warm. There are a few scenes where there is some singing and that kind of camaraderie. There's just some cozy sitting down and talking. There are some arguments. It's just really, really good, and it is probably my number 1 from this year. I really loved it. It really stuck with me, and I highly recommend it to anyone. And the bonus miniseries is North and South. I'm not talking about the Civil War North and South. I'm talking about the North and South that was done in, I believe it was 2005. I think it was a BBC, and it was based on Elizabeth Gaskell's novel of the same name from the Victorian era. This blew my socks off. I put it in one day when I wasn't feeling well, and I thought, well, I'll just watch 1 episode, and I could not stop it. I had to watch the whole thing that day. The acting was amazing. Oh wow, I couldn't believe it. It was so good. It felt like a classic. It just really did. The music was beautiful. If you're in the mood for something long and kind of cozy, get yourself a cup of tea, Jane Austen-ish, give it a try. We've still got a couple months of winter, okay? So you can still do this. Definitely give it a shot if that's your vibe and you've never watched this before. I have always been a Pride and Prejudice fan, and this might have blown Pride and Prejudice out of the water. And that's saying a lot coming from me, because Pride and Prejudice is up there for me. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've seen any of these and if you've appreciated them yourself, or if you've discovered something new today and you want to give it a try. I hope you guys are having a great new year, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.